Hello mom and hello everyone. We are the group 1. I am Edna and Santos and I am with LAMIQUE, Gemina Sandigan and Rexel GAFATE. Our experiment is entitled The Effects of Music and Reading Comprehension. So here in our chapter 1 we included rationale. This chapter represents the background, the problem, and the significance, the hypothesis, the definition of terms, and the scope and limitations of the study. So you can see here is the background of the study. So the listening to the music is popular pastime among young adults, particularly while studying or working on other school-related tasks. So it is simple to witness this behavior across college campuses. So many students have developed the practices of listening to the popular music while studying or completing academic tasks. The worry is that the music will interfere with the student learning and performance of their assignment. So many students stated that students prefer to play music while reading as they believe it can help them study better. However, some studies reveal that many students find that any noise, not simply music, can be distracted when learning. Next. So here is our statement of the problem. So, is there a significant effect on the independent variable on the score of the experimental group? So it is the group who exposed to the music compared to the control group, those group that not exposed to the music. In college students, reading comprehension. Number 2, what is the difference in reading comprehension test score between experimental group exposed to music and control group not exposed to the music among college students? So next is our hypothesis. So we will find out later in our experiment if what hypothesis has been accepted. So our alternative hypothesis is there is a significant effect of music to the reading comprehension, and our null hypothesis is there is no effect of music to the reading comprehension.
The significance of the study. So this paper seeks to find out the effect of music on reading comprehension of the students. Moreover, this study will be significant to the following. So it is significant to the students. So this study will help students to improve reading comprehension. And it is also significant to the parents because this study will raise good awareness because it will assist parents in suggesting improved learning procedures to their youngsters, and it will also assist them in guiding their pupils and providing hands-on observation of students' learning styles. And it is also significant to the future researchers because this paper will also help them strengthen information on their future research paper and to come up with another subject that is connected on different learning procedures that is effective on reading comprehension. And it is also significant to the community because this paper will promote extensive knowledge and deeper understanding on students and may adapt it in schools activities such as reading and analysis. And it will also significant to the researcher because this paper will help them find out the effects of music on reading comprehension, and the result will be suggested to their co-students. So we have the definition of terms. So the following terms are used in this study and are defined to give clarifications and further understanding to the readers. So to avoid unnecessary confusion with regards to the appropriateness of the terms being used this research. So first, we have classical music. Conceptually, it is a type of music that emerged in the 18th and 19th centuries from a European background. Operationally, it is the treatment used in this study, and it will be the genre of music that the participants will listen to. So, a music that is soft to ears. And then we have music. Conceptually, this refers to an art of sound in time that expresses ideas and emotions in significant forms through the elements of rhythm, melody, harmony, and color. Operationally, music will serve as the treatment for the experiment. So the researchers will let the experimental group listen to music while reading on articles. So reading comprehension. It is conceptually, this refers to the ability to read a text, process, process it, and understand its meaning. Operationally, this is the ability that the researchers will measure. So this is the variable in which the researchers will try to know if will be affected by music or not. And then we have reading text. Conceptually, it is any matter that can be read, written or printed text. So a public recital or a rendering of a literary work, the form of a particular word or passage in a given text, especially where more than one version exists. Operationally, it is the material that the participants will read and try to understand. So, our scope and limitations. So, the focus of this study is to determine the effects of music and reading comprehension. So, the participants will be given reading a material to read. It consists entirely of articles relevant to current situation that the world is experiencing. So the genre of the chosen music only focuses on classical music. So the participants will be divided into two groups. The experimental group will be given instruction to read while listening to music. On the other hand, the control group will only read the given article. Both groups were given 30 minutes to complete the treatment. So to measure a reading comprehension, the participants will be given a post test related to the article, and the study will be conducted virtually via Zoom app at Dame of Marble University. So the participants of this study will be the students of the SED.
So next is chapter 2. This chapter presents the research design, research locale, research subject, research instrument, research procedures, and statistical treatment. So first is research design. A research design is quasi-experimental design. A quasi-experimental merely indicates that it resembles an actual experiment in certain ways. A quasi-experimental design, like a true experiment, tries to prove a cause and effect link between an independent and dependent variable. As a result, we chose the optimal design, the quasi-experiment, to compare findings of the two groups, the controlled groups and experimental groups, through the experiment. Next is research locale. The location of our experiment is in Region 12. To be specific, it is in South Cotabato, Corondal City. And since it is not advisable to do a face-to-face experiment, we did it virtually and carried out the experiment with the use of a video conferencing application called Zoom app, and this will serve as the setting of our experiment. Next is research subject. Our subject on this experiment is the students of Notre Dame of Marble University with a sample size of 20 participants, in which they were categorized in two independent group, controlled and experimental group. We chose endemic student as the participants because they are suitable in the experiment. The students of Notre Dame of Marble University are disposed to have a great deal in academic, more likely to participate in a variety of activities that required such reading comprehension.
Research instrument. The instrument utilized in the study are classical music, headphone, reading material, questionnaires, Zoom application, Google Forms, and lastly the timer. Classical music served as the tool to examine the effect of music while reading an article that were provided by the researchers. The article was used was How Innovative Ideas Arise by James Clear. The researchers used Zoom application, a cloud-based video communication app that allows the researchers to set up virtual video and audio conferencing. This platform is used in order to create engagement to the respondents since the study in this is in virtual setting. Additionally, the researchers also utilized a timer used in timekeeping to measure the given window of time to the respondents to complete the tasks. The respondents of both experimental and control group were given 15 minutes to answer the given questions. Furthermore, the respondents of the experimental group have read the given reading material while listening to the classical music. On the other hand, the controlled group read the same reading material without the music. Each group were given 15 minutes to read the material and comprehend what they have read, and another 15 minutes to answer the questionnaires. Moreover, to assess the respondents' understanding of the provided reading material, participants must complete a 10-item multiple choice questionnaire, a self-made questionnaire. Next is the procedure of the research or the research procedure. We have the four phases: the preparation phase, intervention phase, and post intervention phase. During the preparation phase, we have composing an informed consent, random sampling, giving of informed consent, arrangement of dates, and the preparation of materials. And with pre-intervention phase, we have preliminary briefing, arrival of participants, and the start of experiment. We're in with preliminary briefing, the researchers briefly explain to the participants what will happen throughout the experiment, and also during the experiment, the researchers started at exactly 7:10 p.m. There was no disturbance happened, and this was done on each residence of the participants and the researchers as well. During the intervention phase, we have the welcoming of participants, giving of instructions. Participants were divided into groups, the controlled and experimental groups, then the experiment proper, and the gathering of data. Lastly is the post-intervention phase. We have the debriefing process. Wherein the researchers conducted a debriefing process with the study participants to ensure that they are completely aware of and minded of any risk discovered during the informed consent process. Furthermore, they are questioned about their experiences during the experiment. The researchers also notified the subjects about the data findings. Next is the analyzing of data, wherein the information gathered was examined. Furthermore, to assess the data, the researchers applied parametric statistical tests, notably the t-tests. And lastly is the interpretation of data, wherein the researchers deduced from the findings that listening to music while reading comprehension affects the reading comprehension. This includes accepting the alternative hypothesis. Next is the statistical treatment. To properly interpret the scores, the researcher utilized an independent t-test, which is the parametric test that compare outcomes between two independent groups to see if there is statistical evidence that the related population averages are significantly different. The t-score is a ratio of the difference between two groups and the difference between groups. The greater the t-score, the greater the difference between groups. The lower the t-score, the greater the similarity across groups. Next is the ethical consideration. This study is guided by the ethical prescribed by the Philippine Health Research Ethics 2017. This encompasses social value, informed consent, vulnerability, risks, benefits and safety, privacy and confidentiality, justice, and transparency. With social values, the researchers are confident that the research had produced legitimate and reputable findings, which will then be distributed to the designated beneficiaries and to yield sufficient data about the important outcomes which hopefully do not endanger the wider community to whom the results will be applied, considering that the researchers designed the study using approaches outlined in existing literature, latest situation, and discussed the overview and relevance of the study. With the informed consent, the researchers asked the participants to sign the informed consent that is given, which includes recognizing their rights to view their data and the ability to withdraw at any time. With vulnerability, the researcher guaranteed the participants that the study's criteria and aims would be kept confidential. With the risk, benefits, and safety, the researchers informed the respondents about the study's aim, potential risk, benefits, that they will get guaranteed the confidentiality of the research subjects. After that, the researchers will debrief the respondents at the end of the study, explaining the responsible outcome of the study. Participants are free to approach researchers if they require assistance with the study that will be promptly handled by the researchers. Next is the confidentiality and anonymity. Researchers will only collect the basic information of respondents, including the experience they had during the treatment. Next is the justice, wherein the researchers took the appropriate precautions to inform that the subjects will not be burdened in any way and make certain that they all receive the same level of advantages. Access to a potentially beneficial intervention that would otherwise be accessible to them. The ability to share their condition or concern with a compassionate, objective individual gives them comfort. And lastly is the transparency. Following the completion of data collection, debriefing sessions are held, allow participants to raise questions or voice complaints related to the experiment and the research. To ensure fairness, respondents will be informed of the results of the study in which they participated. Now is the result and discussion. Since this study is sought to answer the two problems, is there a significant effect of the independent variable on the score of the experimental group, which is exposed to music, compared to the control group, which is not exposed to music, and college students' reading comprehension? Second is, what is the difference in reading comprehension test scores between the experimental group and the control group among college students? The researchers employed a between subject designed to compare the performance of two divided groups and used independent t-score, a t-test, to measure the significance between the difference in scores of the two groups. We have this table 1, the descriptive statistics of the two groups. We have the two groups, the control group and the experimental group. Control group is not exposed to music, and the experimental group is the one which is exposed to music. We have 10 participants, this one, and The control group got the mean score of 7.8 and the experimental group gained 8.1 mean score. We have the standard deviation of the control group of 1.292714629 and with the experimental group is 0.994428926. The standard deviation error mean is the 0.40879222593 and the experimental group is 0.3144660377. As shown in this table, the students who were exposed to music, the experimental group gained higher mean score than the students who have not exposed to music with a mean score of 7.8. This means that the experimental group have better performance than the control group as they gained higher mean score compared to the other group. To measure if the difference in the score is significant, the researcher calculated a t-test and the result are as follows. The table 2, the descriptive calculated results of independent t-test for the two groups. The same, we have the control group and the experimental group. As presented in this table, the difference between the means of the two group is significant with 22.315 as it shows that the t-value is high and the p-value is less than the alpha. As a rule, that the smaller the p-value and the higher the t-score, the stronger the evidence that you should reject the null hypothesis. The hypotheses in the study are the alternative hypothesis X is accepted while the null hypothesis is rejected since the results show that the t-score and the p-value is less than the alpha.
So, in the discussion, the experimental group in this study was instructed to read a story while exposed to music genre called classical. So, as a result, they scored higher in the reading comprehension test compared to the group who did not listen music while reading. So, this may go along with the Mozart effect theory of Francis Ratcher, 1993, so which he hypothesized that listening to any classical music, most specifically Mozart's composition, can improve spatial reasoning intelligence. So the low fidelity is similar to classical music as it is also slow paced and has calming effect according to Lee 2021. So the result of this study is in line with the result of Nasser Rashidi and Foreman Faham 2011 study where they recommended that teachers can employ music in their teaching sessions and that it is an effective tool to enhance students' reading ability. So regarding the positive effects on music on reading comprehension, it showed consistency with the study of Rika Gasang and Maria Calibayan 2019 as both results shown that music helps students comprehend better while reading. So the only difference is the type of music played for the experimental group. Moreover, there are plenty of research that shares the same result of this study. Therefore, it can be concluded that music in this study is an efficient tool in improving reading comprehension.
So we are almost in the last part of our paper. Next is the appendicitis. So in Appendix A in the research instrument, the instruments utilized in this study are classical music, reading material, which is the article, questionnaires, Zoom up, Google Forms, and lastly the timer. So the article used was How Innovative Ideas Arise by James Clear, ND. To assess respondents' understanding of provided reading material, participant must complete a 10-item multiple choice self-made questionnaire. So here is the article. It is entitled The Toaster Project. As you can see, I will not read it next. So here are our questions regarding to the article. It consists 10 items, as you can see. So here are pictures while doing the experiments. So in the appendix B, our statistical treatment. So here is our result on how we calculate the result. In experimental group, the mean is 8.9. Here, on how we solve the mean and the standard error mean. And next is the control group computation. The mean is 15.4. I mean 7.8, and the odd in the experimental is 8.1. I'm so sorry about that. So this is how we get the mean, the standard deviation, and the standard error mean. Here we use the scores of the participants during their post-test after reading the article. So yeah, that's it. So thank you for listening, and God bless everyone.
Good afternoon everyone. Thank you for attending sa experiment namin. May papagawin lang kami sa inyo. Thank you. Magpa-read kami sa inyo ng article. Please do read, and pagkatapos ng article na to is mag-ask kami ng question sa inyo mamaya. So, thank you for reading.
May allotted time na 15 minutes for reading sang aton nga article. Tapos, after sina, may ara man nga 15 minutes man nga allotted sa pag-answer sang questions nga hihatag.
Excuse, Jemar.
Ay,
Ga-play ang music? Wala.
ga-play? Wala ako.
Hindi lagi mabatian.
Jem, wala kami mabatian yung music, Jem.
Sure, ay. Sorry.
Yes, Jem.
Okay lang na.
Ano
Liwat
na?
kami.
Liwat? Ano, mas liwat. Again.
May mabatian na ng music.
Ara na.
Time check. Tapos na. Mag-send na kami ng question.
15 minutes ka pa ng allotted time para sa pag-answer, pero kung tapos na ka mo, ano lang, signal lang nga tapos na ka mo. Chat lang sa, chat box.
All done na ba lahat? Ay, tapos na ba lahat? Tapos naman siguro yata lahat. Thank you guys for participating on this experiment. Pwede na po kayong lumabas. Thank you.
Thank you po. Salamat.
Thank
May
you.
pakaon ni
Thank you
Kit.
guys.
Plastic ko kita.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Raz. Mag-read kami ng article sa inyo. Then, after nyo mag-read ng article with music, is magbigay kami ng question para sa inyo. Okay lang ba sa inyo?
Ang pag-read po ng article is good for 15 minutes po kasi yan po yung study namin. Tapos, you will be given also 15 minutes for answering the questions. Pero, pwede man ka exit na if nagtapos na ka mo sang answer. Thank
Um,
you.
by the way, dun sa pag-read ng article, if ever na done na kayo kahit hindi pa tapos ang 15 minutes, i-type nyo lang na 1, type 1 lang po sa chat box. Thank you. Mag-start na ko share. Ito lang po na article lang babasahin ko.
I lift my brush
please answer na lang po sa comment section yung link doon. Type to if done na daw sa pag-answer sa question sa link. Thank you. Thank you everyone for participating. Tapos na ang lahat. Kit,
Okay na, tapos na tanan.
dyan na po kayo mag-give. Thank you sa
Thank you po. Pwede na pa mag-leave. Salamat sa pag-participate.
pag-you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Shaina. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Jonalik. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. Pwede na po mag-leave.
Good evening. Magpabasa po kami ng article sa inyo and pagkatapos nyo mag-read ng article within 15 minutes, may pasagot kami na question sa inyo within a Google form. Then, I'll be sharing the screen po. Kita ba yung article? Thank you. Pwede na kayo mag-start within 15 minutes lang po. Thank you. If ever na done na kayong mag-answer, type 1 lang po sa chat box. If ever na done na kayo mag-read, type 1 lang sa chat box. Thank you. Para makastart sa question.
Ang music, get Jamar.
Hindi na,
music.
iba na tong music.
Oo guys, pwede na ka mag-take sa Google Form para sa chat box. Sa tapos na mag-answer, pwede na ka makalive.
Pwede na mag-leave ang tapos na mag-answer. Thank you, everyone. Be with me.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Badge for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Tapos ka na, Cha and Crystal. Hello. Okay, thank you. Done na. Pwede ka na makalive. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending on this experiment. Mag-start kami, tapos magpa-read kami ng article sa inyo. Then, after nyo read ng article within 15 minutes, or depende kung tapos na kayo, is magpa-answer kami ng questions sa inyo within Google form. That's all. Thank you. Share ko muna yung article. chat lang kung done lang or thank you. Chat lang sa public chat. Tapos na bang lahat mag-read? Type 1 sa public chat kung tapos na lahat. Please, thank you. 1 minutes remaining na lang po. Mag 1 minute remaining na lang. Time na po, time na po. Thank you. Mag-start na tayo sa
Change mo ang ano.
wait lang. Mag-start na tayo mag-answer ng question. Pa-check na lang sa public chat yung Google Form, then pindutin nyo tapos answeran. Tapos magbigay lang kami ng time. 15 minutes pa rin. Type 2 lang po kung done na kayo mag-answer sa question. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you sa pag-participate. Pwede na po mag-leave yung tapos na. Thank you po. Good night.
Yay, thank you po.
Good night. Thank you, Kuya PJ, sa pagkakairam.
Sure, no problem. So, okay na?
Okay na po.
Opo, kuya, okay na. Thank you.
Sige, Jem, pwede mo man i-end na, Jem.
Okay,
Tapos
thank
kung
you.
sa akin siya ma-convert, hingil
Ibigay
ako
ko
ng
lang. Opo. Thank you po.
email.
Sige po.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.